All right, welcome back to another episode of StichMethod. This one is going to be quite simple in the idea, but I'm going to need to talk to you a lot, and I apologize. We're going to talk about the difference between noodling and actually trying to say something or actually saying something on the guitar while you're playing. Now, this can be done in any sort of jam, but we are going to be doing this in an A blues. The reason we're going to be doing this in an A blues is because it's understandable. We pretty much have practiced 12-bar blues, hopefully if you're watching this, and you can develop your chops through this before moving on. Now, I want to talk to you. A lot of this stuff, a lot of my ideas that I'm going to be presenting are going to be linked in videos below for my channel. Pretty much stuff in my blues primer playlist. You can check that out, and also my blues masterclasses on Udemy. But here we're going to be putting it together. So let's just talk about noodling first. How do we get away from noodling? Well, noodling is when we're playing the scales, when we're playing chord tones, and we're doing everything, but just doesn't sound like music. And it's going to sound something like this. If your playing sounds something like this, this is what this video is for you. Here we go. You get the idea. Where you're playing through the scales, but it just doesn't sound like music. And so let me give you an example of what it sounds like to have a conversation. Okay, this is what we want to turn your playing into. Something kind of like this. Let's see. Something like that, a little bit more of a conversation. I hope that you heard it too. And so how do we do that? Well, it's actually quite simple, but it's not what you expect. It's about committing, and that's the most important thing, committing. So let's just talk about what we have here. We have an A blues, we have an A7 chord, a D7 chord, and an E7 chord, known as the 1-4-5. Now, 12-bar blues, the first part of it has 4 bars of the 1 chord. And now what we do here is on that very first bar, you have to play something. And we're going to be using an A minor pentatonic on top of it. Just very simple stuff right now. All right, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7. Excuse me, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. And now for those of you who want the notes, A, C, D, E, and G. A, C, D, E, G, A, C. So, to commit, we have to think about that very first bar. Okay, that's my cat. All right, so the first bar of this is where you have to really commit. And so whatever you do, whatever you choose to do on that very first bar is going to become your melody. We're going to constrain it. All right, so check this out. I'm going to press my little looper. I'm going to come up with something on the fly in an A minor pentatonic. I don't care if it's good or not. Here we go. That was it. That was the first 4 beats, well, consisting of the first bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I went. All right, so now you have your melody. That's it. The difference between a melody and noodling is constraint and commitment. And this is what we want to talk about. That second bar, you're going to take that idea that you just did, and you're going to make a little bit of a variation. So number 1 is, number 2, great, a little bit of a variation. Let's listen to what that sounds like. So far, so good. We're not noodling. We have constraint. We have sentences. We're saying something. Bar number 3, you play the exact same melody as you did on bar 1. Right? That was the third bar. All right? First bar, create a melody. Stick to it. Commit. Done. You play it. It's yours. Second bar, make a little bit of a variation. Third bar, play the melody again that you had in bar 1. Fourth bar, play whatever you want in a pentatonic. Anything. Fourth bar of the 1, okay, of the 1 chord, play whatever you want in that pentatonic. You can use, if you're a little more advanced, you can use your Mixodorian blues scale, which is a lesson I have below, excuse me. Whatever you want. Listen for bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, and bar 4, whatever I want. Here we go. There it was. Played a little bit of my blues trick number 1. Video. So, bar 1, melody, bar 2, variation, bar 3, repeat the melody, bar 4, whatever you want. Sorry, I have a mustache hair. It's killing me right there. All right. Now we get to the second section of a 12-bar blues, the 4 chord. We have 2 bars of this, so we got to make it count. Well, guess what? Very simple. We're going to pick a melody off the 4, and for the first bar of that 4, we're going to commit to it. Second bar, we're going to make a variation. Now, okay, this is where some of my videos come into play. Sounding professional, the blues the blues soloing mindset video is a really good video that discusses this. Also my blues masterclass. You know, knowing where your 4s are in the pentatonic, knowing where your 4 chord tones are, they might help you make a stronger melody, but you at least want to know where your 4s are in the scale, and those are your Ds. And so you make a melody off the 4 on the first part, and then you make a melody, then you make a variation. So here we go. Commit, variation, commitment, free as a bird, melody, variation. Okay, now we're back to another 1 chord. Sorry, I just got to watch that that looper. We're back to the 1 chord, and now for the 1 chord, when we come back, this is the spot where you really want to do whatever you want. The 12-bar blues has a 1 for 4 bars, a 4 for 2 bars, and when you go back to this 1 chord for 2 bars, play whatever you want in that pentatonic or mixodorean blues scale. That's the moment where you shine, because you're going to be moving to the 5 and 4 in a couple seconds, and so total freedom here. You know, the noodling, if you can noodle here, but because it's 2 bars, because you're coming from something that's written, it's going to sound refreshing, it's going to sound powerful. I'm just going to adjust my looper. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Here we go. Listen for, when I get back to that 1 chord, I'll shout it out, free as a bird. That was that right there. Those were the 2 bars of the 1. Remember, we have 1, 4, 1 chord. Now we're going to the 5 chord. Now this is where it gets a little bit hairy. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast, not giving you too much. But here we have a 5 chord. You kind of want to start the melody on a 5. So here's a 5 here. Now you have 2 options here. If you watch, again, link below, my Myth of the Mixolydian Part 2, you'll see how on the 5 chord you can go to the Mixolydian scale kind of thing on the E, and then when we go to the 4, you can come down to the D. Now whether you choose to move your scale and play something here on the 5, or you play something here at the 5, the idea is once you pick a melody on the 5, you're going to have to kind of shadow it or duplicate it on the 4. Doing it up here is easier. You just move it back 2 frets, the same exact motions. Like if you go, it's going to be easier. Again, it's discussed in that Myth of the Mixolydian Part 2. If I do it in the A minor pentatonic here, it's a little bit harder, but you hit the 5, and you can think about the direction you go in. Then you hit the 4, and you kind of mimic in the pentatonic, if you can, the direction in which you travel, something to sound familiar. All right, so let's get up to that moment. All right, I'll see if I can do a play-by-play. If not, I'll just shut up and play. Here we go. Commitment, variation, melody, anything. Melody up to 4, variation, then anything you want. 5, repeat on the 4. Okay, and then we get to the final bar of the 1, or the blues turnaround. Now let me do it one more time actually. Instead of coming up here to the 5 and 4 spot, I'm going to stay in the pentatonic, and I'm going to play off the 5 for the 5 and the 4 for the 4. So let's see if we can hear that. can hear right there. So there I kind of did similar moves of the 5 to the 4, and then we get to the final 1 and the blues turnaround. Now you have 2 options here. Again, you've already established a melody. Those 4 bars on the 1, you created a melody. The 2 bars of the 4, you created a melody. You're free on that 1, and that is like a sense of freedom. It really feels good to listen to and play. When you get to the 5, you're establishing a new melody. Moving to the 4, you're establishing the same melody. So you're already chock full of melodic phrases here. And so on this final 1, you can do one of 2 things. You can play whatever you want in the A minor pentatonic, and hit the 5 on that 5. It's really right, hit the 5 on the 5, or you can throw in a blues turnaround, and I have a video about making up blues turnarounds on the fly. I'm just going to do a simple one. Alright, this thing here is discussed in that video below, and so 2 options. I'm going to play it 2 times around. You can play anything you want, and hit the 5, or play a blues turnaround. Sorry. And really, it's one of the 2 worlds there. So let's see what it sounds like. Commitment, variation, replay, anything I want. 4 melody, variation, anything. 5 chord, shadow on the 4, and blues turnaround. Time, any melody I want. Variation, melody, anything. 4, variation, anything. 5, 4, anything I want. 5. Okay? So hopefully this is going to help you shape your melodies, all right? So I hope this all made sense. Let's do a quick recap. Grab a pen. All right, I was just about to start saying, grab your paper and pencil, and my cat started meowing, and write this down. All right, on the 1 bar of the 1, first bar, create a melody. Number 2, variation. 3, repeat the melody. 4, do whatever you want. When we go to the 4 chord, you have 4 chord, you have 2 bars. First bar, you create another melody off of the 4, as in like off of the root note of the 4, maybe some chord tones. Number 2, variation. When it comes back to the 1 chord for 2 bars, those 2 bars play whatever you want in an A minor pentatonic or an A mixodorian scale, whatever you see fit. Okay? I'll link some stuff below. And then when you get to the 5, you can choose to play like a Mixolydian stuff off the 5 and bring it down same shape to the 4. Or you can play the 5 in the pentatonic, play a riff, and then hit the 4 and play something similar. 2 ideas that you can use. And when you come to the final 1 in blues turnaround, 2 options. You can play a blues turnaround on the fly, video linked below, or you can play whatever you want in the pentatonic and just hit the 5 on the 5. I hope this was simple. I hope it was quick. I hope it was effective. If you like this, make sure you subscribe and share. If you haven't yet, join the StichMethod Jammers on Facebook StichMethod Jammers, and show me your melody making chops on some videos, and I'll definitely listen to them and critique them in a nice way. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.